Friends, I'm live. After a long time, I haven't been on the YouTube in a long time. Hope you guys miss me. It's a book review tonight. Vladimir Nabokov. I'm sure I'm not as good as the grad students that do these book reviews, and certainly don't use my YouTube to help you with any research papers you're doing. Because as you might imagine, my review of this book will be extremely unorthodox. Vladimir Nabokov. Lolita. One of the most celebrated books ever. Is it a work of genius or an absolute piece of crap? Is it disgusting pornography? I've always wondered if academia makes a big deal about this book because they're all weird. Is it a good book? Of course, it's well written and the plot is amazing, but it's a disgusting subject. But, I lost my one viewer. But is it a good subject to attack or delve into? I don't know. It's actually thought of as a dark comedy. Lolita. Vladimir Nabokov had to flee Russia during the revolution from an aristocratic family. It is thought that because he was very angry, he wrote this extremely angry novel. The subject matter, I don't even want to dignify it, but it is Humbert Humbert is the fictional villain, protagonist, the main character. He's fictitious, and there's a foreword by a fictitious guy. Everything about it is fictitious. Yet it's the darkest subject matter ever, that being a guy who maneuvers himself to be a stepfather of a younger woman, indulges in his illegal, highly disgusting fantasies. Yet the writing's incredible. I also, as you know from my few book reviews I dig Thomas Pynchon. Nabokov reminds me of him and novels like Gravity's Rainbow, and that is incredibly detailed. Humbert Humbert. It is definitely a dark comedy, and I'm going to put in the liner notes another YouTube that has a documentary about Nabokov and his methods for writing. He used very detailed cards and he just went over and over and over it, and that's why his plot is extremely detailed in this book. It's a cultural thing. I mean, you've got the Sting song, right? Don't Stand Too Close to Me. That book by Nabokov. I mean, it's a U.S. novel. Does he bring a Russian sensibility of it? Is this a Dostoevsky looking at a dark subject? Humbert Humbert calls his Lolita, whose real name is Dolores. Lolita, he invents that name. He creates her. He refers to her and underage girls that he criminally desires as his nymphets. And he does everything he can to get close to her. He even marries her mother and becomes the stepfather. In one of the wildest scenes, he gets, shall we say, criminally close to her while she's sunbathing. His nymphets are the creation that he makes. And I think that's the central part of this. In a sense, nobody's good enough for Humbert Humbert. He wants younger girl and still younger. And it's out of Paris, but then he goes into this town, Ramsdale in New England, a boring town. So that follows relatively loosely Nabokov's own life, being an aristocrat, having to leave Russia. We get the idea that he was angry about that. Despite him becoming an extremely popular author, did he sort of regret not having a central opulence, if you will, in Russia? Yet when I was reading this novel, you don't get an idea that he's some sort of Dostoevsky. There's something I don't like about Nabokov compared to other Russian writers. He is writing this, and it's very forbidden, and it brings up a dark subject, but it's like a dark comedy. And yet he's demonstrating this evil in a complex way. You get the idea nothing is good enough for this guy. And he's controlling what this girl does, not allowed to be, of course, dating later on and attending parties. And they get suspicious of him. And he actually gets in competition with a playwright guy who's also a disgusting, perverted person. Quilty. And Dolores falls in love with her. And one of the darkest parts of this novel he gets together with this Charlotte woman and wins her confidence. And she discovers his diary and learns of his desires for her daughter. Of course, her being an adult woman is not desirable to the disgusting Humbert Humbert. His name, of course, darkly comedic. She, again, this is the most wild scene in the novel, in my estimation. So she finds his diary. She's shocked. Of course, humiliated. She wants to flee. She flees with young Dolores, who is Lolita. Even her name Dolores is out of balance with the cool sounding Lolita. She tries to tell him that the diary is just a sketch for a future novel. An incredibly dark comedic twist, if you will. She runs out of her house, about to send these letters that were to warn people about this scumbag, and she's killed by a car. Not just killed by one, but it's like swerves in her direction, rather unluckily. At least that's the sense I got. And he's able to get these letters of which Charlotte was going to warn people about him. And he uses sedatives to try to take advantage of the young girl, kind of like, I don't know, maybe the Bill Cosby case. Anybody out there? Hey, what's up? How are you, Pedro? We're talking about Lolita. Have you read it? Got one viewer. Doing a lousy book review of them. Oh, out of the data on the slave device. Right. I dig it. We're talking Lolita. So he's gonna use drugs on her. Very scary stuff. And they're in New England, in great contrast from where he comes out of Paris. Again, could be a kind of a reference to how he had to flee Russia. Um, so normal relationships aren't good enough for him, and he creates these nymphets. These nymphets that are sort of super, more than human, perfect ones. And I think it's been kind of hinted at that Nabokov apparently was an expert butterfly hunter, and he kind of used that a little bit, going for the perfect butterflies, the young nymphets. I believe that it's stated that he kind of was thinking about that. The comedic part is kind of well, again, it's dark, horrible comedy, but he's in a rivalry with this playwright guy, Quilty. All right, thanks, brother. Yes, we're talking Vladimir Nabokov tonight. Hope you're enjoying my substandard review of this creepy book. Have a holy. Thanks, Pedro. Yeah. Let me know what you think of this substandard book review. Been a long time since been on here. Miss you guys. Miss you guys. If I got fans. This word nymphet, actually, I believe this comes from him. It's like a kind of a word that he developed. Nymphet, nymphomaniac. I don't know. Stanley Kubrick did a film on this book starring Peter Sellers, but it's much, much more subdued than the actual novel is quite something. And British censor officials suppressed it a little bit, but when they let it out, it became a huge hit. Everybody's waiting. So it's very, very, very dark. And so it's been suggested also that Humbert Humbert is a kind of a tyrannical character, totally heinous, and ruling over this person criminally. But it is sort of funny when she says, "I've already lost my virginity," and he's like, "My nymphet." Then she later gets in trouble and asks him for money and so forth. The Long Island Lolita, yep. The police song. It's a part of culture. Everybody jump in. Talking Lolita for a little while. One of the worst film reviews. But that's my outside criticism. It's not. Nabokov, from what I can see, he's not writing like a Russian novelist in this, really. He's not the typical ones I think of with the lessons in life. It's just a dark, crazy novel. But of course, he can write. He can write. It's one of the best-selling novels ever. Big time. It just generates incredible controversy, of course. Did it help make awareness about abuse of children? Yeah, maybe. Quilty. That certainly is a brilliant scene, though, that the mother finds the diary and he tries to lie about it. She was going to mail letters to expose him, and he gets them because she's hit by a car. Brilliant, brilliant plot device. Maybe the ending and the way the guy gets a lesson through that. I don't know. Lolita. All right, my friends. That's enough for this substandard review. Hope you guys liked it. Anybody doing book reviews on this? This is no substitute for Cliff Notes. I am going to get off, and I'm going to get on again for another topic. Good evening. Read the book. All right. Ciao, folks.